Chapter 117 of Married Thrice to Salted Fish. When Shen Haoshi and the others arrived at the general's mansion, they were just in time to see a sedan chair stop at its gate. They didn't know which court official had the same idea and decided to come visiting on the anniversary of General Gu's death. A middle-aged man with a big belly came out of the sedan chair, wearing the official uniform of a third-rank civil official. Wu Zhan and Wu Gaogang were both year-long residents in the capital, but they had never seen this person. Li Chan introduced them. This is the governor of Langzhou, Xian Shiyuan. He was ordered by the Prime Minister to come to the capital to report on his duties. He had just arrived 2 days ago. When Xian Shiyuan saw them, a smile appeared on his face. If it isn't Master Li and these esteemed generals, have you also come to offer your greetings to the Lord Prime Minister? While they were exchanging pleasantries, Shen Haoshi couldn't help being taken aback when he saw a tall man with a tough face behind Xian Shiyuan. No one else seemed to have noticed the man. Not long after, Yuan Yan, having gotten Lin Qingyu's consent, invited their group along with Xian Shiyuan into the mansion. When the man made to follow after Xian Shiyuan into the mansion, he was stopped by Yuan Yan. The Prime Minister only invited these gentlemen in. The rest will have to wait outside. Xian Shiyuan hurried forward and whispered something into Yuan Yan's ear. Yuan Yan's expression froze. He looked at Xian Shiyuan with a pitying expression in his eyes. Master Xian, please wait a moment. I will have someone report to the Prime Minister. Wu Zhan noticed the man's face and exclaimed, "This man! Why, doesn't he look like the general?" Xian Shiyuan laughed. "A coincidence, I assure you. Nothing but a coincidence." Wu Zhan circled around the man. "He does look a bit smaller, but the temperament is completely different." Wu Zhan couldn't see Shiyuan's intention, but Li Chan knew it well and his face changed slightly. When the servant of the general's mansion came back and said that the Prime Minister had allowed the man to enter, Li Chan couldn't bear it and muttered under his breath, "How utterly ridiculous." In the Dayu, it was not unheard of for people to send beauties to high-ranking officials to curry favor with them. Unexpectedly, Xian Shiyuan was so bold as to offer such a person to Prime Minister Lin. He didn't know whether to call him ingenious or seeking his own doom. Wu Zhan asked, "Master Li, what's the matter with you?" Shen Haoshi explained. Master Xian had deliberately found a man who looked somewhat similar to the general with the intention of presenting him to Prime Minister Lin as a male favorite. Li Chan said angrily, "How could he even think that this kind of person would be worthy of Prime Minister Lin? Presenting the Prime Minister with a male favorite? It is simply an insult to Prime Minister Lin." Wu Zhan was never one to think much before he speaks. Then, who would be worthy? Li Chan froze and said after a long pause, "No one. No one is worthy." He smiled wryly and his voice gradually weakened. "Ah, man, this guy Li Chan has like a huge crush on Lin Qingyu. I hope he just accepts his defeat and just moves on. Dude, stop being that creepy guy who has crush on the beauty, okay? One who could stand beside Prime Minister Lin, even if it's not one as good as General Gu, at least cannot be as good as just me." To him, Lin Qingyu was like a snow-capped mountain. He knew that he was not worthy to walk side by side with Lin Qingyu, and his only wish was that whoever stands beside Lin Qingyu could be someone he could accept. Otherwise, how could he be willing? Wu Zhan didn't hear the bitterness in Li Chan's words and said, "If that's the way Master Li sees things, just how many people in the capital could possibly be better than you?" As soon as these words fell, a voice sounded behind them. "And what might my beloved ministers be talking about?" The young emperor said with a smile on his face. "Won't you let me listen in as well?" No one thought that the emperor would be in the general's mansion at this time. After their initial surprise, they all knelt down and said, "Greetings to your majesty." Li Chan lowered his eyes, and only the emperor's ebony clothes were in view. The dragon embroidered with extremely fine gold thread was exquisite and noble. "You may all rise." Li Chan stood up and only then saw that Lin Qingyu was standing behind the emperor. One was radiating splendor, and the other was pure like an immortal who had brushed the dust of the mortal world with his feet. The impact of the beauty of these two people was too great. The scene of them standing together made Li Chan a little dazed. Golden wind and jade dew. Jiang Sheng glanced one by one at the gathered people and said, "Xian Shi Yuan." Xian Shi Yuan hastily stepped forward. "This humble minister is here. I heard that you have prepared a gift for Prime Minister Lin." Xian Shi Yuan quickly threw a look at Lin Qingyu, as if expecting him to say something for him. This minister," Jiang Sheng said with great interest. "I'm quite curious. Show me." Xian Shi Yuan knelt down with a thud. Cold sweat broke out throughout his body. Toughening his scalp, he said, "I simply didn't want to see the Prime Minister become sick from longing, depressed and unhappy. I then made to be so bold as to find someone to bring comfort to the Prime Minister." "Someone to bring comfort?" Jiang Sheng laughed, but there was no smile in his face. "Prime Minister, do you need someone to comfort you?" Li Chan suddenly realized that, at some point since, the emperor's childlike manner had gradually diminished. His words and deeds were getting closer and closer to his actual age. The emperor was no longer a mentally handicapped boy, he was a grown man and a true son of heaven. At this time, the emperor didn't seem to be in a very good mood, and the coldness emanated from his body made him dare not to look directly at his majesty. But Lin Qingyu wasn't the least bit afraid. Lin Qingyu said to the man brought by Xian Shi Yuan, "Raise your head." The man raised his head, feeling anxious. In Lin Qingyu's eyes, there was nothing resembling Gu Fu Zhao in his face. Lin Qingyu ordered, smiled. The man was just a butcher. Xian Shi Yuan took a fancy to him because his appearance resembled Gu Fu Zhao a little bit. He had been bought from Langzhou straight to capital. He had never seen anything of the world. He forcefully forced a smile, showing his white teeth. Lin Qingyu only took one look and then looked away. "What did you do before?" I was a butcher." "Master Xian is so considerate," Lin Qingyu said. "Yan Yan, ask if we have an opening for a butcher in the kitchens." Jiang Sheng raised his eyebrows. Wu Zhan grinned and remembered what they'd come here for. "Your Majesty, Lord Prime Minister, we came here to visit the sick. We heard that the Prime Minister was laid up in bed. Why do you seem to be completely fine? Lin Qingyu said. I'm mostly recovered. With Zhen by the Lord Prime Minister's side, it is only natural that he would get better. Jiang Xing said, but you gentlemen, have you nothing to do? Are the barracks and the Ministry of War so idle? They all looked at each other and said in unison, we will be taking our leave. When he was about to round the corridor, Li Chan couldn't help looking back. The Emperor and the Prime Minister were still standing together. The Emperor seemed to say something which made Prime Minister Lin smile. This smile was tender and full of affection, with a charm and elegance that he had never seen before. Calling it radiant would not be an exaggeration. It was as though Li Chan had woken from a dream. In this entire world, apart from Lu Wancheng and Gu Fuzhao, the only one who was worthy of Lin Qingyu was the Son of Heaven. Lin Qingyu was unaware that his smile was tender and full of affection in Li Chan's eyes. He sneered and said, what kind of expression is that on your face? Jiang Xing was upset and felt justified at being so. Why did you keep that person? Lin Qingyu said calmly, I am investigating Xian Shiyuan's suspected corruption case. This person may be a clue. Come on. Jiang Xing pretended to be resentful. Just tell me, are you missing Gu Fuzhao's face? As I said before, I have no feelings for Gu Fuzhao's face. I loved the house and its crow because you were in that body. Jiang Xing asked again, then, if we give no consideration for who's inside, what kind of face do you prefer? Lin Qingyu quickly picked up on what Jiang Xing wanted to hear. I prefer Jiang Gongxi's. Jiang Xing was satisfied. You sure are a sweet talker. In the view of Prime Minister words, I will definitely turn over the Prime Minister tablet tonight. It was night and Jiang Xing was staying over in the general's mansion. Taking advantage of the dark night and high wind with Sha Songxi as cover, he snuck into Lin Qingyu's bedroom. With the brocade quilt between them, he hugged Lin Qingyu. Qingyu, how about we carry on a clandestine affair? Lin Qingyu was lying on the bed, holding a medical book and reading it. He absent-mindedly, we will after I finish reading. Okay, call me when you're done. Jiang Xing usually wouldn't disturb Lin Qingyu while he was reading. He sat down at the table, took out pen and paper, and found something for himself to do. After Lin Qingyu finished reading his book, he saw that Jiang Xing was drawing something. Walking over to see, he saw it was 2 rings, somewhat similar to the ones Gu Fuzhao had given him before, but with some patterns on the inside. One of the rings was engraved with a phoenix feather and the other echoed it with a sleeping dragon. Jiang Xing asked, does it look good? Lin Qingyu nodded. It does. Jiang Xing smiled and said, then I will use this as an engagement ring. Is that all right? Lin Qingyu remembered that giving rings when proposing was a tradition in Jiang Xing's hometown. All right, he said. When will it be cast? It will probably take about half a month, Jiang Xing yawned. Let's sleep, let's sleep. Jiang Xing, in Gu Fuzhao's body, had slept on this bed with Lin Qingyu for half a year. Except for going to the last step, they had done everything on this bed. Lying here again, now in his own body again, with this beautiful widow who had maintained his widowhood for a whole year, it would be a pity if they didn't do a little something. The more Jiangshin thought about it, the more excited he got. He licked the corner of his lips and asked, Qingyu, do you still remember what you and Gu Fuzhao did on this bed? Lin Qingyu smiled lightly. We have done a lot. Then, have you ever done this before? We have. How about this? Lin Qingyu's voice trembled slightly. Yes. Jiangshin sighed comfortably. And this? Don't. I can't bear it. Jiangshin raised his eyebrows and deliberately said, You can bear Gu Fuzhao's. Why can't you bear mine? Lin Qingyu said without hesitation. I have also never taken in his. Jiangshin found Lin Qingyu's reaction so cute. After staring at him for a while, he laughed out loud and collapsed on Lin Qingyu. Lin Qingyu? Question mark. It seemed he had hit Jiangshin's funny bone, and Jiangshin couldn't stop laughing. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have laughed. Lin Qingyu pushed him away expressionlessly. Well, perfect timing. Today is your death anniversary. Let's go to bed early. Jiangshin once again propped himself up and hugged Lin Qingyu's around his waist. He pulled him to face him and said with a smile, That won't do. Lin Qingyu then lost all energy to think about Gu Fuzhao's death anniversary. He even woke up later than Jiangshin the next day. After Jiangshin finished dressing, he sat on the edge of the bed and, still terribly sleepy, said, Baobei, I'm going back to the palace to get ready for morning court. Lin Qingyu gave an weak, This is for you. Thank you for agreeing to marry me. Lin Qingyu felt something cold slip onto his finger. Jiangshin kissed his forehead. I love you. I'm going. After saying so, it seemed he felt it wasn't enough. So he kissed his cheeks and the corners of his lips twice more. He then pushed aside the bed curtain and strode out. Running after sleeping with him, what a slang man. Lin Qingyu raised his hand and saw something extra on his left ring finger. It was the ring that Jiangshin drew for him yesterday. Well, he is so freaking quick on getting those rings on, huh? But that was so freaking sweet. Adorable.